July 1st of 2019, the Florida House of Representatives adjusted their policies in regards to safety precautions for frontline medical personnel. In other words, EMTs and paramedics and other medical staff that were on the front line were able to carry a gun in what CNN referred to as high-risk incidents. High-risk incidents. As someone who went through EMT school, and I completed it successfully, I take the safety of these medical personnel extremely seriously. I'm here advocating for it. And these people are putting their lives on the line every single day. Your life, all of our lives. Something happens right now, someone drops in the middle, passes out. These people are going to be called. They don't know what they're going into, they just know they're coming in. And yes, there are forces to say, hey, when the bell rings in the firehouse, it does give them an idea of what they're heading into, but it's not always true. So no, I'm not talking about the safety in regards to medical safety. There's a term in EMS that's called BSI, bodily substance isolation, which is like gloves and masks and bodysuits and anything that you might need to avoid getting a sickness, a flu, or anything to those constructs. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about dangerous situations that these medical personnel are put into every single day. But somehow, lawmakers and policymakers didn't think that far. They thought, okay, we have medical personnel. They come in, they do what they need to do, and they go. And then they thought, okay, well, I don't think it really works like that. I think sometimes they come into dangerous situations, extremely dangerous situations, and they have to assist while under pressure that may not be common. So let's give them a gun, and then that's it. But they didn't step back and say, hey, maybe they're in these situations every single day. They didn't take inputs from firefighters, from first responders, from medical personnel to understand what really happens. Do they need guns every day? Or do they need guns just for high-risk situations? So to be clear, the bill that they proposed, Florida House of Representatives, this is a paragraph from the bill that was explained. They aim at giving medical personnel guns in only specific high-risk incidents, not on a daily basis, where they might come into serious situations, and oftentimes do. But let me explain. For the purpose of this paragraph, the term tactical medical professional means a paramedic as defined in S401-23, a physician as defined in S458-305, or an osteopathic physician as defined in S459-003, who is appointed to provide direct support to a tactical law enforcement unit by providing medical services at high-risk incidents, including but not limited to, and this is where you have to pay a little bit more attention, because what I'm about to mention, they're not common situations, except for maybe one or two. But let me continue. So let me go back a little bit. Who is appointed to provide direct support to a tactical law enforcement unit by providing medical personnel at high-risk incidents, including but not limited to hostage incidents, narcotic raids, hazardous surveillances, sniper incidents, armed suicidal persons definitely, barricaded suspects, high-risk felony warrants, I'd say that's pretty often, fugitives refusing to surrender, I would agree there as well, and active shooter incidents. So, in other words, you can have a gun as an EMS responder, but only when you're around other people who have guns and more specialized in it. I don't think that's how it's supposed to work. You see, EMS, the way it actually works, and let me just give you a little bit of background. When you are called to a scene, we ask, is a safe scene? Is the scene safe? You talk to dispatch and you say, hey, is the scene safe? Am I able to enter the scene? And the dispatch will tell you yes or no. So sometimes you have to wait off and you have to hold off in the back and just wait. You have to wait for everything to be safe for you to be able to enter. So having a gun in those incidents is a bit useless, because when you enter those scenes, when you walk in, you are completely surrounded by officers, armed, by SWAT teams, by so much safety. But when you take a step back and you think, but these people are doing this every day. They're walking into situations that they may not know their safety is at risk. Then you may think, well, this policy doesn't really work for them. Why would they be able to use guns when they're safe and surrounded by officers and extremely, extremely professional people that can handle this, that can handle guns, that can diminish situations, versus when they can't do that? And like I said before, there are a few in there that I would agree that they belong on there as the number one. Like hostage situations, it's common that medical personnel have to go in alone. Suicidal. There's quite a few in there that it doesn't make it completely invalid. But what does make it completely invalid is the idea that these medical personnel are going through this every single day, but not given the proper resources to handle it. So, let me just give you an example. When I went through my EMT clinicals, you get to follow someone. Basically, get to jump in the wagon, and they'll teach you a few things. So, I spoke with many firefighters, EMTs, paramedics, and so much more. The biggest advice that I got at those moments were two things. When you enter a scene, always search, whether it be a school, whether it be a house, whether it be a backyard, whether or not the scene was deemed safe or not, you should always, always, always ensure that your scene is safe. When you walk in, you stand closest to an exit. And for that to be the first thing that they tell me when I go through EMT school is absolutely terrifying. So when I was speaking to them, that was their first piece of advice. Always remain next to a door. Always remain next to an exit. Because you never know what scene you're walking into. It could have very well been a safe scene to walk into when you first stepped in the building. But you don't know if Joe and Sally, right in front of you, are going to get into some type of altercation. Dan Limmer created an article on scene safety on EMS1.com saying, teaching scene safety, unfortunately, is wrong. The major key missing in scene safety is thinking of real life situations. In other words, the firefighters and EMT personnel that were training me were not the only people that felt like the first thing you should do is watch your surroundings. The second thing you should do is look for an exit. Thinking is important when you're an EMT or a medical personnel on the front line. You don't know. You cannot foresee what's about to happen. And having a gun would would allow for more safety, for better, for people to understand what they can and can't do around EMS personnel. And it's not about instilling fear, please do not misunderstand me. But it is important that aside from, as the Florida House of Representatives correlates, dangerous situations, is not only hostage situations, narcotic raids, hazardous surveillances, sniper incidents, armed suicidal persons. Those aren't the only situations that these EMS personnel are being put into. There are so many more. And it's so important that they have the proper tools to be safe. So what I propose is that maybe you're not a lawmaker. I mean, we're pretty young. I would say nobody in the room is a lawmaker, which that's okay. But I do expect you to have these conversations, these harsh conversations with firefighters, EMTs, paramedics, medical personnel, so you can see the truth behind this. And then maybe after that, you can go speak to lawmakers. Maybe after that, you can start a march. Maybe after that, you can be inspired to want them to be safe. Just like police officers are safe. Just like people in hospitals are safe because they have security. These medical personnel are no different. So, I hope that you want their safety to be a priority. Outside of the dangerous situations that CNN refers to. Their safety should be a priority on a daily basis. And guns, for them, would only prioritize their safety.